Good afternoon to you and welcome to the news at 1. I'm Emmanuel Ajay and these are the news. We are filing at this hour. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday, United States of America vowed that his administration will trace the accounts of individuals who took away ill-gotten oil money, freeze, recover and prosecute the culprits. Reacting to questions from Nigerians in diaspora organization in United States and Canada at the Nigerian embassy in Washington, D.C. on the third day of his visit, the president lamented the corruption in Nigeria and virtually developed into culture where honest people are being abused. According to him, 250,000 barrels per day of Nigerian crude oil are stolen and people sell and put the money in their individual accounts, adding that the United States and other developed countries are helping U.S. to trace such accounts. The president expressed skepticism on the existence of oil subsidy. He said the subsidy removed transport, housing, and food prices will go out of control, and average worker will suffer untold hardship. President Muhammadu Buhari said his government is ready to negotiate with terror group Boko Haram if talks will lead to the freedom of over 200 girls of government secondary school Chibok, Borno State, who were kidnapped over a year ago in Borno State. Boko Haram stormed the GSS Chibok on April 14, 2014 and abducted about 278 female students of the school who were preparing for their final examinations. About 58 of the girls managed to escape at different times. Buhari, who is running up a 4-day official visit to the U.S., said while speaking during an interview with Christian Amarpal on CNN on Tuesday from New York, the president, who noted the people needed to be cautious about credibility of various Boko Haram groups, however, declared that the government will embrace any process that will lead to the freedom of the girls. New Chief of Defense Staff Major General Abayomi Olonishakin has assumed office with the pledge of renewed commitment of the armed forces in confronting terrorism, oil theft, and other criminal vices threatening the national security. He made this pledge shortly after taking over from the former Chief of Defense Staff, Air Marshal Alex Bade in Abuja. Olonishakin is demanding increased commitment from officers and men of the armed forces and has assured them that the training and capacity building will be given top priority. Defense correspondent Para Samuel reports.
After about 18 months in office as Chief of Defense Staff, it's time for Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade to hand over to a new man. He congratulated his successor on his appointment and urged him to brace up to the challenges of the fight against terrorism. Bade, however, noted that the task ahead of the new CDS was surmountable.
Let me begin by congratulating the incoming CDS and the service chiefs for their well-deserved appointments. They are all coming on board at a very critical time in the life of our nation and the armed forces of Nigeria. This is so because of the security challenges occasioned by the activities of Boko Haram sect and other criminal elements. The task before you is tough, but not insurmountable. I therefore wish you the very best as you settle down to address the nation's security challenges.
The new Chief of Defense Staff, Abayomi Olonishakin, in his address says he will pay closer attention to tackling insurgency and other criminal activities in the country.
While appreciating our collective effort, it is instructive to state that we must redouble our resolve at addressing these security challenges. The country expects nothing less from us, and I am certainly going to demand more from every member of the Nigerian Armed Forces.
He revealed that new strategy in information gathering will be introduced to help stem the tide of insecurity across the country.
The Defense Headquarters will provide the necessary leadership, direction, and coordination of the military efforts. We will therefore be proactive in providing the very necessary strategic direction and support for implementation by the services in order to achieve the desired end state in the counterinsurgency and other operations in the country.
Before his retirement from the military, former Chief of Defense Staff Alex Bade served the nation for 38 years, 6 months, and 2 weeks. Para Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Earlier, Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Usman Jubre had handed over mantle of leadership the Navy to his successor, Rear Admiral Ibok Ite Ibas. Usman reeled out some of his achievements while in office to include reduction in crude oil theft from 2.4 million barrels per month to 300 barrels per month in June 2015. For his part, the new Chief of Staff, Rear Admiral Ibok Ite Ibas, promised to tackle forms of marine crimes across the waterways.
On my assumption of office on the 20th January 2014, gentlemen, you can now say today is 21st. The nation was faced with a myriad security challenges, which also affected the maritime environment. The then President, Commander-in-Chief, directed and mandated that the Navy should reduce crude oil theft and other security challenges in our waters. With the help of the Almighty Allah and commitment of our officers and ratings, we were able to reduce losses from crude oil theft, which used to be 2.4 million barrels per month, to about 300 barrels in the month of June 2015.
The negative impact of maritime crimes on the nation's economy is severe and cannot be allowed to continue. During my tenure, the service will frontally confront crude oil theft and other criminal activities in the maritime environment with all the resources at our disposal. We must collectively strive to realize our dreams of building a credible Navy capable of discharging its constitutional roles and assigned tasks in a sustainable, efficient, and effective manner as encapsulated in the revised Nigerian Navy Transformation Plan 2012-2020.
The Inspector General of Police has assured the Governor of Plateau State continues police commitment in order to allow peace and development in the Middle Belt State. Plateau State, which has recently hit with June bomb blasts that claimed over 40 lives, has been receiving end to communal clashes in struggle for arable and grazing lands between herdsmen and local farmers. Governor Simeon Lalong, who was received the IG in his office, made this request to the police.
According to the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arasi, 13 bombs have been detonated in Plateau State since the issues of insurgents began in the country lately. While commiserating with the Plateau governor on the loss of lives due to the recent bomb attacks, he assured that his men are totally committed and ready to work with the state to ensure a peaceful environment where the dividends of democracy can be delivered.
To come and first commiserate with you about the incident that happened about 2 weeks ago. I was very, very worried when it happened because we've had about 13 cases of bomb incidents since the insurgency started. This one that came was like an aberration because it was something we thought we had been able to settle it, and I know you are just trying to settle and to governance in the state when the incident happened.
However, the IG queried why some of his men were attacked during the last explosions when they went in to help the injured. The irate youths who attacked the police also went ahead to burn down some churches within their vicinity.
And secondly, there was some reaction from some indigents of the state when it happened. My officers who were on rescue mission, they started hauling missiles at them, and I felt that that was something that was out of the ordinary because they were supposed to go and assist the victims of the incident. So I decided that apart from talking to the officers and men of the police command, I should also have an interactive sections with strategic stakeholders in the state. And,
on his part, Governor Simon Lalong requested for more police presence in the southern part of the state, where he said daily attacks have become a daily routine adding that the state is doing its best to ensure total peace is achieved within its borders.
Grateful for that opportunity. We're grateful for the concern police is showing. After the bomb blast, you've come. I'm sure you have listened. So the next thing is action. We'll do our best to cooperate with the police, and we'll also ensure that we get Plateau back to the home of peace and tourism. So that is the only way that can help us to also execute our programs for the people of Plateau State. Once more, thank you for coming, and may God bless you as you get back to your various destinations.
Highlight of the visit was the presentation of gifts by the governor and the police boss.
Immediate past Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ade Abolorin, has formally handed over to Abdullahi Mohammed to the elaborate ceremony. So Ade Abolorin urging NSCDC officers and personnel to sustain integrity and credibility of the agency he built in the last 10 years. Basiaye reports that the new Commandant General was, until his appointment, an Assistant Commandant General and Head of Procurement Department.
Dr. Ade Abolorin bowed out and is handing over to his son, Mohammed Ghana, the new Commandant General. Please put your hands together for the new Commandant General.
It was an elaborate event at the NSCDC Academy with scores of officers and men in attendance. That is how one would describe the handing over ceremony and change of guard from the old to the new. It is the first time a ceremony like this will be held in the NSCDC since its establishment 10 years ago. Another significant event was an extensive tour of infrastructure and facilities, which is followed by a command performance by a select few. Then it was time for speeches, with the former CG taking time to highlight his achievements in office. Abolorin also gave a final charge on the need to maintain good conduct.
Will remain very civil and civilized people. I'm also handing over to you those to represent the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps on a permanent basis in the International Civil Defense Organization. I'm handing over to you a cream of officers that are highly vibrant, highly resourceful, very industrious, very articulate, very agile, very energetic, and good to go. Are you good to go? Good to go, good to go, and good to go. So you can see that there is no old man among them at all. There is no expired person among them at all.
Finally, the new man in charge of the Corps stepped up to say a few words. He promised to consolidate the gains of the past leadership.
We better wake up and buckle up for the battle ahead. I'm assuring you that I've been trained by the CG and I'm well exposed. He has trained me in different countries, and I'm assuring you that I will use that experience I had and that knowledge that I have to make sure that I don't go forward.
The former CG may be bidding farewell to active service, but officers and men of the Corps are of the view that his expertise will be required from time to time, even after the final pull-out parade slated for next week. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Security operatives in Kaduna have killed 3 cattle rustlers in a joint operation and recovered 2,000 cattle and rams in Gwari local government area of the state. The operation involved a raid in a bandit hideout in Gwari and Damari village on Sunday, and in early mornings of Tuesday. No fear, the 9 cattle rustlers were arrested during the operation. Governor Nasir El-Rufai has since commended members of the joint security team and pledged government support for what he described as new offensive in the northwest against cattle rustling. He added that the joint operation involves 6 states, including Zamfara, Kebbi, Katsina, Sokoto, and Niger, which have common borders with the Gwari forest. We'll now take a quick break and we're back with more stories. Do join us again.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
careful about what you say.
I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it's time to forgive me.
Please for Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
Welcome back for more of our news and other stories. Do visit our social media platform, facebook.com/CoreTV News, and our Twitter at CoreTV News NG. You can also watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space, then news. Justice Gabriel Kolawole of the Federal High Court has granted bail on self-recognition to the former head of service, Stephen Oronsoye. He also granted bail to the second accused person, Oronsoye affair, in the sum of 50 million naira with two shorties who have landed property in Abuja. Justice Kolawole, however, ordered the accused persons to deposit their international passports with the court registrar as part of their bail conditions. Oronsoye is facing a 24-count charge bordering on fraud and money laundering amounting to 1.9 billion naira when he was head of service between 2009 and 2010. Judicial correspondent Basia Hay has more in this report presented from our studios.
Oronsoye was on July 13 formally arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission before a federal high court in Abuja on a 24 count of money laundering. The court allowed him to go home on personal recognition, but to return to court on July 21 when his bail application will be heard. At the resumed hearing of the matter on Tuesday, his counsel Kanwa Gabi asked the court to grant him bail on self-recognizance. But prosecution counsel Rotimi Jacobs opposed the application, arguing that it will set a bad precedent. In a ruling, Justice Kolawole upheld the argument of the defense counsel and ordered that the accused persons be rearrested if they fail to meet their bail condition after July 23.
Well, first and foremost, we believe Mr. Oronsoye is innocent, and we will, I won't say we are happy or unhappy. The law has taken its course. He's a responsible Nigerian, been given bail on his own recognition. The file was sent to the judge by the chief judge as a vacation judge. After the vacation, the chief judge will reassign the case to any.
Before Tuesday's hearing, the anti-graft agency had alleged that one of Oronsoye's accomplices in the alleged crime, Abdul Rashid Maina, is at large. But Maina counsel Esther Ozoma appeared in court to debunk the allegation. She informed the court that EFCC had not invited Maina for questioning on the said crime. EFCC counsel Rotimi Jacobs, however, insisted that Maina is in Dubai and had been evading justice. The trial proper is slated for October 5.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has concluded plans to commence the probe of the former President Goodluck Jonathan with investigation into financial transactions of his ministers and aides. The report has it that the chairman of the commission, Ibrahim Lamode, has already directed that all petitions against former public officers at the federal level should be forwarded to him to be acted upon. Findings shows that the former ministers, special advisors, head of parastatals, and those of federal level government agencies will be invited for interrogations by EFCC in few weeks from now. Also, that the anti-graft agency will focus on those establishments attracted huge allocations from the federal government when Jonathan was in power. Such ministries and agencies include Defense, Petroleum, Power, Resources, and Power. And as such carried out on the house of the former National Security Advisor Sambo Dansuke last week by the DSS continues to attract reactions from Nigerians. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana says the action of Secret Service was in order. Falana, who was at the assertion made this function at his function, insisted that the search warrant produced by DSS at the house of the Dansuke legitimized the step taken in the right direction.
When that was going on, he contacted the media that there was a Gestapo operation in his residence. The SSS and Wole his house and they were trying to be funny. And everybody picked it up on the internet. Oh, this new government, you have come with your dictatorial policy. Why are you doing this? But the following day, the man involved came out himself to see that those who came to my house brought a warrant signed by a magistrate. And I said, wow, does this man know the implication of what he was saying? He was simply telling Nigerians, I defy the law, and nothing happened to me. And that is our country. You can't do that. If you do that in the US, the house will be polished.
Central Bank of Nigeria has been described as one of the failed agencies of the government. This is against the backdrop of the warning handed down by the APS Bank to banks and deposit houses to publish the names of debtors of non-performing loans by August 1st. Ebunlomo Oguntoye met some of experts and brought back this report.
In reaction to the call by the Central Bank of Nigeria to publish the names of debtors in national dailies, one question that has been raised is how effective the publication of the names will be in returning the loans that have not been serviced over the years. While some are of the opinion the publication might morally push the debtors to pay, others feel the Central Bank of Nigeria is the cause of the problem of the financial institution of the country.
I think from moral perspective, we are not talking from the law, but from the position of the law now. Let's talk from the perspective of moral suasion. I think it's capable of sending some signals to them. One, I mean, image is about everything in business. If your image is destroyed, then you have no basis for you to continue in business. Neither have you got any basis to continue to thrive. So if your name is published as a bad debtor, then you know that the next thing that will follow is litigation. And members of the public, we're talking about the ordinary people now, they say, oh, so this company, after all, is a debtor or is a chronic debtor.
If these loans have become non-performing, there's a way out. There should be foreclosure. The foreclosure should not first be interceded with publish the names of all those who owe you. I think it's just an attempt to create the impression that there is a dynamic workforce in the central bank, whereas, if anything, the central bank is probably one of the failed agencies of government in Nigeria.
Asking about the effect of these loans on the functionality of the banks and the country at large, the experts had this to say.
If it's insignificant, then it won't have much effect on the economy. But if it is significant, I hope it won't be another crisis within the financial institutions. But I'd like to think that the banks, as presently constituted with their balance sheets and with the funds available to them, they will not likely go down.
Well, put it this way, ultimately, you will have a repeat of what happened in, I think, was it 2008 or so, when at the end of the day, the central bank itself printed more money, I think about 5 trillion naira of fresh notes, put it in the system because the banks had a lot of non-performing loans as well. And of course, the impact of that strategy was to expand the liquidity base of the country, of the economy, and that had its own ripple effects in terms of instigating a higher rate of inflation, of instigating a higher cost of funds, because you'll notice that in the last few years or so, the cost of funds have remained in excess of 20%, while inflation has remained well over 8%. These are indices which are totally out of gear for companies or for countries where there is best practice in the issue of management of banks.
Whether or not the CBN will live up to its threat of publication is another question August 1st, 2015 will answer. Ebunlomo Oguntoye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And this is how we call it wrapped on the news at 1. I'm Emmanuel Ajayi. Bye for now.